Well, hey there everyone. So this week what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going back into some sewing. So I did take last week off for a little break after Halloween. Okay, so this week I'm going to do a little bit more winter stuff because we're getting into the cold seasons, even though today is going to be in the 90s. We're going to ignore that. So we're going to do something that I've seen on Pinterest for a while now and I've been wanting to do, but I haven't really been able to figure it out until today, where I did a little bit of research on it and we're still gonna see what happens when I do stuff. So I'm gonna be doing, I think it's like a 60s, it gives me like 60s vibes. It's called, I think it's like a cape coat, I would say. So I'm gonna try and do something like this. So I wanted it to be something where I could wear just by itself without having like anything really underneath, but I don't think I'm really going to be able to figure that out. So I am just going to have it be where it's like a coat, so I do have to wear an outfit underneath, and because otherwise it's going to be like exposed. So here are my thoughts. I think this is going to be very heavily based off of like Vogue, whatever the number is, pattern. It's a vintage pattern, so I'm gonna try and do a pattern like that. I just don't want to buy it, so I'm gonna figure it out myself. So that pattern is a long one, but I'm gonna make mine about as long as like my A-line mini skirt that I've been doing, and so we're gonna try and do that. So what it looks like happens with it is so the front is basically just like a triangle. It just goes down. And then it has a tie that wraps around, so it ties in the back or in the front if you make it long enough. And then it has a cape that buttons on the sides right here. So the back is completely like open minus the cape, so that's why I have to wear an outfit underneath. Otherwise, we're gonna be showing things that we don't want to show. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. So for the material, I got so lucky one day at Goodwill and I found so much good material. So a bit ago, I picked up this really big hunk of material. I don't know what it's made out of. It's thick and it's got plaid looking stuff on it. Maybe I'll put a video somewhere what it looks like so it makes more sense. But it is very much like a nice quality material, and it was material, not like a blanket or anything I found. So that was such a lucky find. So we're gonna be using that today. And then for the lining for the triangle, I think I'm just gonna use some like tan-ish material that I used for, I think, pants a bit back. And then for the cape, I'm probably just going to find some satin to line it with. So we're actually going to do things the right way this time, and we're going to line things. So we're going to attempt that. All right, well, I have to go draft this pattern, and let's pray that it works. I think for the cape, I do have a few cape patterns, so I think I am going to try and use those and then just cut it to where I want the cape to stop, which is the same length as a skirt. So I think we're gonna try and do that as well. We're gonna mess around and we are gonna find out in this video. So I will catch you back in a bit. Alright, so first things first, yes, I did do another hair gloss on my hair, so it is slightly more red. You are not seeing things. Besides that, so the first thing that we have to do is cut out all of the pattern pieces. So basically what I did to make the pattern pieces was I really just kind of went for it. So the front literally looks like just a triangle. So it's literally like, I think I measured about 6 inches here, and then I went down about 23 inches, and then I just made it like a triangle. So it's just like a triangle. And then the bottom I did a little bit rounded, so that it looks normal when it's wrapped around me. So that is for the front piece. So I need to cut out 2 of those. So one for the outer fabric and one for the lining. And then also into the front, I need to cut out 2 long straps, and that's going to be sewn into the sides, so that I can wrap it around and tie it. And then for the cape part, so I did use a cape pattern, sort of. So I used the back piece. It's supposed to be like cut into 2, but I just cut it in on a fold, and then I just basically folded up that piece to make it a little bit smaller for the front piece, because that the usual cape piece wraps all the way around, but I needed it to end here, so I just kind of like shortened it a little bit, and so I cut out one of the back piece, 2 of the front pieces out of both the lining and the outer fabric. And then also for the cape, what I needed to do was cut out just like a tiny little rectangle. I needed to cut out 2 of those, and that's where the buttons are going to go down the side. So that needs to be sewn in while I sew the lining and everything together. So I'm going to see you after all that. Okay, now once everything's cut out, I'm just going to start sewing things together. So for the cape, I need to sew the side pieces onto the back piece for both the lining and the outer fabric. And then what I need to do is I need to sew the lining and outer fabric together all around everywhere but the neckline. And I did forget to sandwich in the little button strip here, so I did have to seam rip just a little bit and then stick it back in and then sew it back up. So ignore that I forgot that. And then you're going to take the front triangle piece and sew it together again all around all the sides except for the neckline. So I'm going to catch you after that. Before I started sewing all the big pieces together, I went ahead and sewed together the little pieces. So I sewed together the little button patch, which basically you just sew all the way around except for the bottom and then turn it right sides out. Then that gets sandwiched into the cape. And then I sewed together the 2 long straps. So basically I just cut out 2 massive strips. I'm going to fold them in half and then I'm going to sew it down and then turn it right sides out. And then that will also be sandwiched into the triangle while everything's getting sewn together. Okay, now that we have those two separate pieces, it's time to sort of connect it down one side. So I wanted to do this after all the edges were enclosed and everything because I didn't feel like figuring out how to do this before then. So basically what I'm just going to do is take one side of the front triangle piece and one side of the cape and just sew a very thin line, almost like a dart, because I'm going off the end so that there's no like awkward folds at the bottom. So I'm just going to sew it together down a very thin line to connect it. And then the next step after that is to do the collar. So I basically just kind of measured out what I had for lengthwise for the collar, and I forgot the measurement for that, but I just cut out a rectangle. And then I sewed the rectangle right sides together except for the bottom, turned it right sides out. I was going to pin it right sides together so that it would just flip up, but I forgot that I needed all of the edges encased because I'm going to have a little bit hanging off the end. So I folded in the bottom exposed edges and I ironed that closed, and then I basically sandwiched it into the neckline like you would a bias tape, and I sewed it along that. So I'll show you after that. Alright, the last things to do is add buttons and pockets. So I added 5 buttons, 1 to the collar and then 4 going down. And then for the pockets, basically what I did is I took masking tape and I taped it on the spot, the general area that I wanted the pocket. And then I just drew like the pocket shape and size that I wanted because that was the easiest way for me to get the proper size of the pocket. So I did that, and then I transferred that onto parchment paper where I can make the pattern. And then I cut out the pocket pieces, so 2 of the outer fabric and 2 of the lining fabric, the same lining fabric that I did for the triangle part. And then basically what you do for the pockets is you just sew them all around, all sides together except for that little top, turn it right sides out, top stitch it, and then sew it straight on to the outside of the dress. And then with that, this bad boy is done, so I will see you in the final look. Alright, I think this turned out really well. Much better than I was expecting it to. This actually turned out like very cute. The only downside I would say to this is I wish I did the shoulders a little less big because it looks like I'm kind of wearing shoulder pads and I'm just like very broad. So if I just like did those down a little bit, but I didn't really feel like doing that when I was sewing it. Other than that, I think this turned out really, really great. I'm honestly very surprised at myself that I was able to do this, and it looks so much like the examples that I found, and now that I'm like thinking about it, I feel like the examples that I thought where it was like a whole dress underneath was just like this little triangle in the front, because it honestly looks like it's a dress, and then you look to the side and it's like, oh, there's the rest of my outfit. So I think that turned out really well. Very excited to wear this out, although I don't know where I would wear it out because I don't go anywhere. But if I did, I think actually I am going to California for Thanksgiving. So I am going to go out into the woods and take nice woodsy photos as if I were on a runway in New York. So yeah, I think this turned out really great. The strap helps with the figure a lot. The pockets worked out really great. I love this material. I still have a ton of this material left, so don't be surprised if you see this later on because I could probably make a skirt or a dress or something with it. It was such a grab at Goodwill. I really liked the lining for this. I just chose some satin rather than like a nylon because I didn't really have nylon. So I just chose like a nice fun satin color that popped out on the inside, and then the inside of the dress is just a regular tannish brown material, so that's not really seen, so I don't really care about that. I think the buttons worked really great. I think honestly I did not think I was going to be able to accomplish this, and then everything just started coming together really nicely, and it actually worked. So also, in case I don't film tomorrow, which I think I am, yes, my hair is a tad bit redder and darker because I did another Christmas hair gloss in Ruby, so that's why my hair looks like this, and I am quite enjoying it. So yeah, let me know if you'd like this. I will be making a video next week, but then the week after is Thanksgiving, so I won't be making it that week, and then I'll be back the week after that. So a little bit of a messy schedule at the end of the year, but that's what I'm planning on doing. So yeah, let me know if you like this, and let me know what you would like to see more of. So anywho to do, if you like what I did, go and like and subscribe. I post most Saturdays, mostly at noon, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching!